Narayaniyam, Dasakam number 18 Explanation. In Dasakam 17, we narrated the story of Dhruva. Now we continue with the incarnation of the Lord in the lineage of Dhruva, who was one of his most ardent devotees. This story here describes the story of Emperor Pruthu. Pruthu was a partial incarnation of the Lord, and he was one of the foremost kings who ruled the earth. Before we start with the story of Pruthu, we need to know the story of his father, Vena, who turned out to be a blot on the pious dynasty of Dhruva. Dhruva married Brahmi and had a son, Vatsara. Vatsara had a son by name Pushpana. Pushpana had a son who was called Vyushta, and Vyushta's son was Sarvatejas. Sarvatejas had a son who was Chakshusha Manu, and Chakshusha Manu's son was Unmukha. Unmukha had 6 sons through his wife Pushkarini, and amongst them Anga was the first and the foremost by age as well as by his strong character. King Anga attained great fame and came in the Dhruva's lineage. Strangely, in such a pious lineage, a cruel son, Vena, was born to Anga and his wife Sunidha. By his very nature, Vena engaged himself in a lot of unrighteous and wicked activities. He tortured his subjects in many ways. King Anga was saintly, and he was extremely unhappy at his son's evil and wicked behavior. Distressed in life because of this Vena's character, he was tortured by mental anguish and driven to a sense of renunciation. The king Anga retired to the forest to do penance, fixing his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord to attain liberation. Vena had great powers and no one could resist him. It was a well-known fact that Vena was a sinner and spent all his power and energy on evil deeds. He was mighty as well as cruel. But the citizens, the ministers, the priests, and the experienced elderly people of noble families reluctantly installed Vena as the king because they feared that anarchy would take over and destroy the country in the absence of a king. So, Vena came to have youth, wealth, and royal power, and all together at the same time. This made him blind with arrogance and pride. The cruel king exhibited his power by harming people. He declared that the whole universe was sustained by his might and that there was no one greater than him, and hence he was God himself. He proclaimed that people should worship him in all rituals. Using all his powers, he prohibited all sacrifices and other sacred rituals designed to please the Lord. Vena prohibited all noble acts like sacrifice, charity, penance, and any other austerities in all his entire kingdom, and indulged himself in many unrighteous acts. Disturbed at this, the saints sought to advise him in the hope that Vena would adopt the right conduct and rule the country. They told him, "O king, the person who is noble in deed, word, and mind will attain sacred worlds like heaven. Brave one, do not destroy righteousness in this country. If you govern the country with the prescribed codes of justice, equity, and impartiality, the all-pervading Lord will be pleased and will fulfill all your desires." To this Vena replied, "O saints, I am the Lord in flesh and blood, and ignoring me, you all worship an unseen Lord. And who's that all-pervading Lord? It is in the king's body that all gods dwell. Therefore, I am the King of kings, and I am the Lord of the universe. Realize this. There is no Lord who is superior to me. At least hereafter honor and worship me." This is what Vena said to the saints. Enraged at the king's open censure of the Lord, the saints cursed him. Just as a moth will jump into fire due to ignorance and die, the arrogant Vena was consumed by the flame of the saint's curse. Though Vena was cruel, the country at least had a king when he was alive. When he was destroyed, anarchy prevailed. It was a free-for-all, with thieves and dacoits terrorizing the common people unhindered. As unrighteousness grew, the country headed towards complete destruction. In these circumstances, sages like Bhrigu were gripped by fear. They thought that a Kshatriya would be required to destroy the wicked and rule the country properly. The lineage of the great king Anga should not end without an heir. Encouraged by such thoughts, they decided to endeavor to try to create a new king. The saints also came to know that, unwilling to burn the dead body of Vena, his mother Sunidha had been preserving it with herbs and the power of incantation, that is mantras, so that she could console herself at least by looking at him every day. The saints decided to create a new king from Vena's dead body itself by churning it. They first churned his thighs. From there emerged a man who embodied all the sins of Vena. This man was a dwarf, as black as a crow, with exceptionally short limbs and a particularly short arms and legs, large jaws, a flat nose, bloodshot eyes, and red hair. This man was bent low and he was very meek. He said, "What shall I do for you?" The saint said, "Nishadha, please sit down there." That is why he was known by the name Nishadha. According to the Bhagavatam, since Nishadha took upon himself the terrible sins of Vena, even as he was born, his offsprings, the Nishadhas, they took up his nature and took up their abode in the mountains and in the woods. When all the sins of Vena were expelled from his body in this manner, the body became very poor. The saints then churned his hands. At that time, the Lord manifested himself as Emperor Pruthu, and the Lord's wife Lakshmi was born as Archis. The saints now declared Pruthu as a partial incarnation of the Lord, and they predicted that he would be the foremost amongst kings in the world, and besides, he would display powers which would be remembered in all the worlds forever. The saints now crowned the Lord as the universal monarch. However, the divine qualities were not apparent at that time, and the ministers could not sing praise of the Lord. Noting this predicament, the sages visualized through their power of penance and austerities the divine qualities of the Lord, his great heroism, splendor, and explained to the ministers that the Lord would cause the earth to yield various objects of prosperity. The saints also predicted that Pruthu Maharaj would conduct 100 Ashwamedha Yagas on the banks of the river Saraswati, and that he would finally achieve spiritual enlightenment from the sages Sanat Kumara and others. The ministers now sang the glory of the Lord and his future achievement. Because of Vena's outrageous and violent acts, Goddess Earth had withdrawn and hidden all her fortune which sustained life. On account of this, people were suffering from hunger and thirst. The people took refuge in Maharaja Pruthu, who in turn had to force her to yield the hidden resources. Gripped by fear, the earth took the form of a cow and started running to escape from Pruthu Maharaj. Infuriated, Pruthu followed her to whichever world she went. At last, realizing that there was no escape, the earth surrendered to Pruthu Maharaj. Falling at the feet of the Lord, she said, "O Lord, you are the sole master of this world. In times immemorial, it was you yourself who had redeemed me from Patala, taking the form of the famous Varaha. You kept me afloat like a ship in the ocean, making me fit for sustaining all living beings. You who did such things have incarnated as Emperor Pruthu to protect their subjects. Is it right on your part to kill me, to redeem the wealth that I have withdrawn only because the world was full of cruel people? You may, with a suitable calf, milkman, and a vessel, take all the requirements and food, etc., in the form of milk. You may level my surface by removing the hills and the mountains that have overrun me, so that the inhabitants can plow and get yields eternally from the plants. Accordingly, the curved end of the very bow which you used to force the earth into submission, Pruthu Maharaj leveled the surface by removing hills and mountains. Thereafter, as ordered by Emperor Pruthu, the inhabitants of the world, using appropriate calves, milkmen and vessels, milked the earth which had assumed the form of a cow, and they got whatever they desired most. First, Pruthu milked the plants from Surabhi, that is the earth, as a cow, making Manu, the leader of mankind, as a calf, and he used his own hand as the vessel. The sages made Brihaspati as the calf, and in a vessel of sense organs milked the Chandas or the Vedas. The Devas had Indra as the calf and milked in a golden vessel Soma juice, power, splendor and strength. Prahlada was the calf for the Asuras, and they milked liquor in an iron vessel. The Gandharvas and the celestial nymphs made Vishwavasu as the calf, and in the vessel of a lotus they milked music, beauty, etc. The Pitrus milked in a vessel made of fresh clay, Kavya, with Aryama as the calf. The Siddhas made Kapila as the calf and milked all the 8 Siddhis. The Vidyadharas, with the same calf, milked the art of flying. The Asuras milked illusion with Maya as the calf. The Yakshas milked blood with Rudra as the calf and skull as a vessel. Takshaka was the calf for the serpents, and they milked poison in the vessel that was their mouth. The cows kept Nandi as the calf and the forest as their vessel and milked grass. With the lion as the calf, the carnivorous animals like the tiger, etc., milked flesh using their body as the vessel. Garuda was the calf for the birds, and they milked insects and food grains. The calf for the trees was the banyan tree, and their trunk was the vessels which they milked sap. The mountains made Himavan as their calf, and their peaks as their vessel, and they milked all the minerals. King Pruthu became very pleased with the goddess Earth, who now yielded all the objects of one's desire. He fondly accepted her as a daughter and felt paternal love for her. He then ruled the earth as a very kind and good king. Pruthu Maharaj performed 100 horse sacrifices, Ashwamedha Yaga, and what happened during the 100th sacrifice is what comes next. The Lord Tridhama, that is, the one who has 3 abodes, known as the Trinity. He is the Brahma, creator, he is the Vishnu, preserver, and he is the Rudra or the destroyer, based on the 3 basic qualities of Rajas, Satogunam and Tamas Gunam, and conducts the 3 basic activities of creation, preservation and dissolution. He rules the 3 worlds of Patala, Bhuloka and the Swargaloka. He has explained the Rig Veda, Yajur and the Samaveda. He is the Pranava mantra consisting of A, U and that is the Om. Pruthu Maharaj performed 99 Ashwamedha Yagas without any hindrance for the protection of the world. When he started the 100th one, Indra, disguised as a barbarian, stole the sacrificial horse as he did not want anyone else to complete 100 Ashwamedha Yagas. The son of Pruthu Maharaj, urged by sage Atri, defeated Indra in a battle, recovered the horse. By this act, the son acquired the name Vijitashwa, that means the one who has won over the horse. Indra attempted again and again to steal the sacrificial horse, each time assuming a different form, a barbarian, sometimes naked, sometimes wearing blood-red clothes, and at other times smearing ash all over his body. However, he disappeared and vanished in the battle every time Pruthu Maharaj's son appeared. At this, Pruthu became furious and took a bow and arrow to kill Indra. The priests conducting the sacrifice urged and advised the king that it was improper to resort to violence in the midst of a sacrifice. They offered to bind Indra and use him as a sacrificial offering. When they were about to use Indra as a sacrificial offering facing southwards, the great Brahma made his appearance. He advised the priests that they should persuade King Pruthu and Indra to become friends. He also addressed the king and said, "O king, you are wise and intelligent. You possess the spiritual knowledge and you have completed 99 sacrifices. You have no use for any more. You are conversant with dharma and you are conducive to liberation. It is not worthy for you to show anger against the mighty Indra, who is your second self. As both of you and Indra are Vishnu's partial manifestations, it is not proper for you to kill Indra." So Brahma stopped Pruthu from proceeding with the sacrifice with Indra as the sacrificial offering. Immediately, Pruthu gave up his enmity with Indra and came to terms with him. He conducted the sacrifice and took the purificatory bath. Instantly, Pruthu had a vision of the Lord Mahavishnu, who appeared before him. When the Mahavishnu appeared before Pruthu Maharaj, Pruthu opted for the most appropriate boon, and that was the ability to attain the highest position of unshakable devotion. Thereafter, Pruthu Maharaj was residing between the rivers of the Yamuna and Ganga. He started a great sacrifice which was attended by many sages, divine and royal. Pruthu Maharaj gave an exposition, a speech of the supreme dharma for the benefit of the assembled sages. Amongst them, noticed particularly the presence of the four renowned sages, Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatana and the Sanat Kumara. Pruthu Maharaj honored the Sanakas and the three sages, offering them golden seats, worshipped them respectfully by washing their feet and offered their worship. He sought to know from them the path of salvation. Sage Sanat Kumara, who had the supreme knowledge, explained to Pruthu Maharaj the knowledge of self-realization. After attentively listening to and understanding the sage's advice and keeping that in mind, Pruthu Maharaj continued to rule the country for some more time. He dedicated all the activities to the Lord, and when old age approached, Pruthu Maharaj crowned his son as king and retired to the forest. There, Pruthu Maharaj did penance with great intensity. In the end, he laid down his physical body by yoga and realized the supreme nature of the Brahman. Lord Guruvayur, who did incarnate in the form of Pruthu to protect righteousness, we pray to him to kindly destroy all our ailments speedily. Thank you.